8, 7.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the 15th season of Hitting the Field on Hitting the Field Network. We're coming back strong this season, talking World Baseball Classic and some other things going on around the MLB. Also, of course, we'll go over some of the NFL preseason buzz as we get ready to head into Week 1. And finally, you'll hear not only from me, but from our show's executive producer, Johnny Jackson, about Hitting the Field's past, present, and future. I'm your host, Hannah Jo Groves. Today is Monday, August 29th, 2022, and Hitting the Field starts right now.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, there's been some movement on the World Baseball Classic front, and in my opinion, Team USA just keeps getting more and more stacked. Beyond that, in the MLB, we've got some young players getting some pretty big contract extensions, and the possibility of Moreno selling the Angels after 20 seasons. Here to talk about it all, we've got a few friends. Kayla Lewis, I'll start with you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here, talk some baseball, my favorite sport, so.
Absolutely. And Nate Marrero, how are you doing?
Doing well. It's my first time on Hitting the Field. Excited to join the family.
Awesome. Also first time, we've got Marian Summerall. And yes, you guys are hearing that last name correctly. Marian, how are you doing?
I'm feeling good. It's my first time on Hitting the Field, and so I'm really excited to be here and just overall happy to talk about baseball.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we actually got some news right before the show started here. We're seeing that the MLB Players Association is offering a union for minor leaguers here. And Nate, you kind of had some opinions on this. Is this going to make it a good thing? Is this kind of a move toward maybe not a good thing? What do you think?
I think it's a really good thing. When you look at minor leaguers, their conditions, they didn't get housing until their last CBA deal, which came earlier this year. So hopefully this can lead to an increase in wages and players can focus on playing and not their living conditions as much as they've had to focus on it.
Right, because minor leaguers really are not seeing as much as when they go up to the major leagues. And so for a while they're kind of desperate for cash a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll keep you updated on that as we get more information in the coming weeks. But let's move to the World Baseball Classic. Let me start by naming who we've got on the coaching staff so far for Team USA. As manager, we've got Mark DeRosa. We've also got Ken Griffey Jr., Andy Pettit, and Dino Ebel. And before I go over the players we've got on the team so far, Kayla, what was your reaction to hearing that DeRosa will be managing?
Well, I was a little bit surprised. He doesn't have a lot of, or at all, any managing experience, really.
Right.
So, but I think it's so stacked that he'll be able to be helped out a little bit in that area. I think it's gonna be good, really.
Totally.
I think he can do it.
I think he can do it too. I was watching him talk about it. He seems so excited, and a big goal for him is to not let these guys get hurt before their regular season. Nate, what kind of measures do you have to take to make sure that that doesn't happen?
Well, it's when they play, it's right around when they would be in spring training, so that's when they're starting to ramp up and starting to get ready for the season. So you really need to make sure their pitch counts are at where they're ready. That's really, the pitchers is the biggest thing. They haven't announced any pitchers, but you can't be overextending anyone. They get hurt in the WBC, and then someone's team's going to be upset because they're missing one of their best pitchers, and that's just not a problem you want to have, especially as a first-time manager for USA's in the WBC.
Absolutely. Well, and so let's talk about these players that we do not want to see with any injuries here. So on the on the outfield, we've got Bryce Harper. Sorry, I'm waiting for it just a second here. Bryce Harper, Mookie Betts, Cedric Mullins, Kyle Tucker, and Mike Trout, of course, the captain. In the infield, we've got Pete Alonso, Paul Goldschmidt, Trevor Story, Tim Anderson, Nolan Arenado, and JT Realmuto. Now, Marian, who are the immediate standouts to you on this subline?
Well, I gotta say Trout, definitely for one.
Of course.
We've been watching him all this time, and I also gotta say Bryce Harper. I was talking, before the show, and I was also doing some research, and I just feel like he was, he's gonna really hit the ball running this season.
Totally.
I think so.
Absolutely, yeah. And guys, Mike Trout, that rare back condition he's got going on, do you think that'll affect anything, or do you think that he'll be ready?
I think it might affect it. I'm actually surprised he's the captain.
Are you? Tell me
Yeah.
more.
I mean, Goldschmidt and Arenado are playing, and they were on the team in 2017 when they won. So I think it's kind of surprising that one of them isn't like taking the lead on it to be captain. And that back condition, like he's saying it's kind of healed, but I think it can flare up at any moment. So
That's
like, what
I'm-
if he gets out, you know, like, and he's the captain? I mean, other guys can pick up the slack, but at the same time, like maybe someone else would have been a better choice.
I'm not that. When you look at his body of work, it's not that big of a surprise to me. Like, he was unequivocally the best player in baseball for an extended period of time. So to me, it makes sense for him to be the captain, and just hopefully he can stay healthy.
Absolutely. Well, and guys, who do we think, Nate, who do you think is going to be pitching?
I mean, you hope you can get Max Scherzer, Jake DeGrom, Corbin Burns, Garrett Cole. Like if you can get like 2 of those guys, you're feeling pretty good.
I would love to see Max Scherzer. How do you feel about that, Miss Kayla?
I don't know if they'll get him. I think maybe DeGrom, Max Fried from the Braves, I think they could get. They also, you know, Strider's been doing well. You got Joe Musgrove. There's a lot of pitchers they can pick. It's just really going to depend. But I think DeGrom instead of Scherzer. I mean, if you get both, that's amazing. But definitely DeGrom over Scherzer, I would say.
Okay. So really quickly, guys, before we go into the MLB stuff, the Dominican team will be down one guy here because Fernando Tatis Jr. is still suspended for using performance-enhancing drugs. Now, guys, how does that affect the Dominican team? Do you think they're still stacked? Are they really going to be missing him? What do you guys think?
I think they'll be okay. I mean, you have Wander Franco, Jeremy Pena. They can play shortstop and fill in just fine. They also have Sandy Alcantara, who can, I mean, best pitcher in baseball right now. You can also, if you get Luis Castillo, that 1-2 punch is dominant. So I think they'll be okay.
Okay. Kayla, you thinking the same thing?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think, yes, he's a loss, but I don't think it'll like hurt them a lot.
Marian, did you read about this whole scandal and what it meant for, because I mean, this guy is my age.
Yeah.
He's super young, but this was not an accident, this whole scandal.
No.
So what did you think about it?
I don't know. Well, going back to your question, I think that they will be fine,
Okay.
considering the fact that, you know, he also did fall off his motorcycle and was out for a long time.
True.
Just because of a wrist injury.
True.
I felt like the scandal, you know, we see it happen, but I don't think they're gonna suffer like as a unit from it at all.
Okay.
And I do, you know, it is disappointing to hear about. So
Yeah, well, they'll still be competitive, of course. Dominican Republic team, of course. With that, let's go over into the MLB, talk about some young players who are getting some pretty huge contract extensions. Now, I'm going to tell you these in increasing order. So, here we go. We've got Emmanuel Clase, who's getting $20 million for 5 years with the Guardians. Then there's Aaron Ashby with the Brewers, who's getting $20.5 million for 5 years. Then we've got a big jump to Joe Musgrove, who signed for $100 million and 5 years with the Padres. Adding one more year and $15 million more, Yordan Alvarez signed for 6 years and $115 million with the Astros. Next comes Austin Riley, who will be getting $212 million for 10 years with the Braves. Kayla, that's your team. And finally, there's Julio Rodriguez. Minimum, he'll get $210 million for 13 years. Maximum, he'll get $470 million for 20 years with the Mariners. So Nate, which of these was the most outlandish to you?
I don't know. I mean, the Julio Rodriguez deal really stands out to me. There's more variables in this contract than an algebra equation.
Oh,
you know, if he gets
totally.
it's based on the amount of like MVP, how he does like in the whole like MVP race. So it's also, if I'm Julio Rodriguez, that's kind of tough. It's subjective. You know, like I'm gonna, based on however many writers going to determine like what I get in my contract. That was something I thought was kind of weird. But I mean, he deserves it 100%. I mean, if he does get the full $470 million, it's the most lucrative contract in sports.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, and we'll talk about something that might have been a little bit later on, didn't end up going through. Marian, what was your reaction to all of these lists of millions and millions of dollars?
one that really stuck out to me was definitely Joe Musgrove, because I felt like, you know, it was the biggest contract in the team history, and that really stuck out to me. I mean, $212 million.
Yeah.
And
they're trusting it to him.
yeah, and I definitely think that, you know, there's potential for him to do really well, but it was definitely some big numbers to see.
Absolutely. Kayla, Braves are on that list. How do you feel about that?
really good. Austin Riley, he's in the running for MVP this year. He's been great. I'm happy we have him for 10 years, $212 million. And also the whole Braves roster really has a lot of signings going on. I mean, Fried is still 2024. You got Harrison. Everybody is like signed super long.
And Austin agreeing to be there is also.
That just like put the cherry on top.
Totally. Nate, what are you excited to see from Riley?
Oh man, he's one of the best third basemen in baseball, and this is something the Braves have kind of started this trend. They're locking up young players early so that when they don't have to worry about them hitting free agency and having to pay an extraordinary amount of money for them, and it's really smart. And you're starting to see it with Jordan Alvarez signing a deal earlier, and some of these younger players are signing deals much earlier into their career, so it's more control and less money for the teams.
Yeah. Well, so you're sounding like you're liking the Braves. Is that your team?
Oh no, I'm a Yankees fan.
We
wanna
will
switch
apologize
to
to you formally. So sorry about that.
No. I mean, the Braves are. When you look at how they've built their team, it's one of the best models as far as developing talent, get them to the big leagues, they hit, and then you control them for an extended period of time.
Totally. Well, let's talk about one of the deals that didn't go through here that was kind of on the board. Apparently, the Nationals knew he would say no, but still offered it to him. This is Juan Soto getting the offer of a $440 million deal for how many years, Nate? 15. Marian, when you heard that Juan Soto said no to this, what was your reaction to that?
I felt like he was handed the deal of a lifetime.
I thought so too.
So I felt like, I'm not sure what his plan is, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, totally.
That's a ton of money, and it was a great opportunity for him. I felt like it would have skyrocketed his career. So I guess we're just going to have to find out and see.
Well, but he's betting on himself here because I kind of see both sides of the coin. That was one of the biggest deals that we would have seen out of the MLB. But Kayla, we were talking a little earlier, it isn't as good as it sounds.
No, I mean, yes, it's 15 years for $440 million, but the franchise, you don't know, what if it's sold in a few years? And his annual salary is going to start at $29.3 million. That does seem like a lot, but for a player like him, that is way too low. So I think he did make the right decision to turn it down. Yes, he could have done good with the Nationals, but again, he's better to go to another team and explore his options.
I think you're right. He's betting on himself. That's kind of the phrase I'm going with. What is he saying to the MLB by refusing this deal?
I mean, to be quite frank, I think it says a lot about the direction of the Nationals. They haven't, ever since they won the World Series, they've been trending downward. And if he were to sign a 15-year deal, are they going to become good again? What are they?
Right.
Who knows? So I think it's more about he wants to go on to a team that's going to win and spend the prime of his career there.
Okay. Well, kind of to wrap things up here, we got some news that the Angels could potentially be being sold after 20 seasons with Moreno. And, kind of talking about the Angels, they're not doing so hot right now, despite having two of probably the best guys in the MLB in Shohei Ohtani and I'm forgetting his name.
Mike
Trout. Sorry. My brain was like Max Scherzer, and I said, that's simply not it. Mike Trout. And so those guys are there, and we're still not seeing a ton of success. Shohei Ohtani has been so fun to watch this season, guys. So with the franchise on the brink of being sold to somebody else and kind of dwindling success, what are we thinking the next few weeks are going to look like?
Probably more of what we've saw this season. They haven't been playing good. I mean, just to waste the talent of players like Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout, it's criminal. It's whoever, if they do indeed get sold, hope the owner is going to have a tough decision to make. Do we try to build around Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout? Do we trade them and try to build up the farm system and start from scratch? I mean, it's a tough spot for the Angels.
Yeah, I think that when there's a new owner, I think they're going to try and do a whole teardown and rebuild it.
Okay.
They have the good players, not the good team.
Right. Well, and Marian, Trout's supposed to be there through, 2031?
Yeah,
that's sad.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know. It's, while he's been on the Angels, they never won a playoff. And so while he's been there, and I feel like that's, really kind of hurting his career. And I think that Kayla's right in the sense that they have the good players, but they really need that new team.
Yeah.
They really need that new construction going on.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep an eye on it, guys. That's all the time we have now to talk MLB. Thanks, everyone, for talking with me. When we come back, we will be talking NFL. Stay with us.
Why? Because I am a New York Giants fan, and I want my first pick of the week to be my team. I see an upset for the New York Giants this Sunday Bet your entire savings, and I'm telling you right now, they're gonna win. I don't care what you say. It's gonna happen.
I have to go with the Raiders, I think, for this one. I don't see them losing.
Welcome back. It is now time for our primetime picks of the week, the best segment. I'm currently doing awful, standing at 16-10, Oklahoma State and Texas. I'm going Texas 35-27.
All right, Jeff, don't tell me your winner, but who is going to the Super Bowl?
The New England Patriots.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
my
God.
gosh.
And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
God.
The
Oh
NFL is gonna.
God.
The NFL is gonna make it happen.
And we're back. NFL's week 1 is creeping closer and closer. It's not this Sunday, but next, and we're beyond excited. However, there could be a few awkward seeing your ex out in public with another person type moments coming up. Here to help break that down with me are Ray Collado, Grant Wheeler, and Ty Paton. Guys, how are we feeling today?
Ready to talk some football.
Ready to talk some football?
I'm so hyped for the NFL. It's finally back.
Finally back.
This season is just going to be different than any other one.
Different. I hope so. I would sure hope so. So let's jump into it here because we've got some awkward reunions going to happen right off the bat. Joe Flacco versus the Ravens. Of course, Joe Flacco's going in for Zach Wilson with that injury. This is the one, Grant, I heard you talking a little bit earlier, probably not going to be a huge deal, but do you think there's going to be some hard feelings on either side of the ball?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, again, it's been a while since he's been with the Baltimore Ravens, right? So the reunion won't be as strong, but there's going to be some, things there. Like some tension, right? John Harbaugh's still the coach of the Ravens. He was obviously the coach of Joe Flacco and Flacco's tenure, but nothing really major compared to the other reunions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and guys, tell me if this is a hot take or not. I need you guys' honest opinion. I don't really think it is. I think Joe Flacco is actually a better quarterback for the Jets in this situation than Zach Wilson would be. Here's why. Experience and prior knowledge of the Ravens specifically, and John Harbaugh, like you said. He's going to know how they're going to react to certain offensive schemes. He's going to know what their defense is going to do to react to them. Hot take or no?
I'm not sure if he'd be the better quarterback, but to fight the point on he knows how they work and stuff. It's been, like Grant said earlier, it's been a while since he's been there, so I can't imagine all the verbiage and it's going to be the same. So I can't say he'd be the better quarterback against
the Ravens.
Against the Ravens, but I don't think they're going to win anyways, but
the Jets. You don't think the Jets are going to come out with this one?
No.
That's surprising. That's a hot take right there, guys. Okay, well, let's move on then. So Russell Wilson, my guy, I love, versus the Seahawks. This one might hold a little more because it's a lot more recent. Ty, how do you think this is going to go?
So I hate to say it for any Seahawks fans, but I think the Broncos are going to wipe the floor with them.
Oh, yes. I love the sound of it. Keep going.
I mean, just with the Seahawks offense, Tyler Lockett and Jerry Jeudy are very, very similar in their play style, but Jerry Jeudy's got a little bit more of a wow factor.
Totally.
So Russell Wilson gets a new receiver that he can put a little bit more trust in. I worry a little bit about Cortland Sutton and DK Metcalf because they're not a one-for-one there. Cortland Sutton, I'd say, doesn't have as much of a wow factor as DK Metcalf. He doesn't put up the same points as he does. He's not as much of a red zone target.
Sure.
But I think Russell Wilson's going to find his way there.
Well, but wouldn't you argue, though, that Cortland didn't have as many targets, didn't have as many chances as DK did?
You could, but DK is just a freak
DK
athlete.
is a freak. You can't argue that.
A huge receiver that can catch balls anywhere within his radius. I mean, that doesn't come around very often.
Kind of like
in the
Megatron.
NFL. Just like Megatron.
I'm not comparing anyone to Megatron like that.
We won't compare
not
him to
gonna compare
Megatron,
him,
but
but
he does have good
belong
numbers.
to
He has
the
great
same.
numbers.
Okay, well, great. So then, last little matchup here. Because of Sam Darnold's injury, which we'll kind of get into in a little bit, Baker Mayfield goes up against the Browns. Ray,
Baker Mayfield is looking at the Browns like they're a snack right now. The Browns. There's a reason why I'm not saying they're going to win a Super Bowl or go to the playoffs, but he reminds me of Matt Stafford, how he left the Lions a historically bad organization. There's a reason why the Browns went 0-16. And there's a reason why they've had 3 GMs since 2017. And here's a fun fact I'll throw up in the air. They haven't won a season opener since 2004. So he's looking at them like a fine snack. I see the Panthers beat them. Not mopping the floor with them, but they're going to win.
Oh, so you think the Panthers, okay. The Browns will kind of show that they can compete, though, you think?
I would say if they had Deshaun Watson starting, but...
Can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
The Browns are an oatmeal cream pie.
That's the exact snack?
Panthers. The exact
That's
snack.
the exact snack we're going with?
You ever seen that meme?
Okay. What about like a cosmic brownie? Not your
Yeah, but
vibe?
oatmeal cream pies are a little bit nastier. The
Okay,
Browns
okay,
aren't
okay.
as good.
Well, as we're talking about the Panthers here, let's talk about some of the injuries that we saw. So first off, we had Derek Brown, defensive tackle. He's got that oblique injury, but apparently it was called just kind of a preseason caution, maybe not going to affect him. Grant, how does that affect?
So I read about it earlier. It's definitely a precaution. Matt Rule actually said we're not going to rule him out for week 1.
Okay.
He could actually be back as soon as week 1. So I think it's more of just a precautionary issue, nothing major.
But they need him for their depth, correct?
Exactly. Well, he's actually one of their starters, I think. I believe so.
Okay.
But depth, of course. Obviously, speaking of depth, their quarterback depth room is actually shaky right now.
Yep.
Of course, with Matt Corral, Sam Darnold, and Baker Mayfield. He may be healthy, but he could be one hit away from being on the sidelines.
Well, I mean, we've seen that before, haven't we?
Oh,
An injury
yes.
really affects him. So Sam Darnold, though, with that, it was his ankle, and we saw that, and we have a highlight of it, and you guys will watch. Do you think, though, that he would have had more of an edge on Baker in the quarterback competition, or do you think that it was going to be Baker no matter what?
It was going to be Baker no matter what.
Okay.
I think the Jets, in my opinion, kind of ruined Sam Darnold.
Tell me more.
I think, remember back in 2019, he was saying he was seeing ghosts on the field, like with the plays. I just think the Jets overall kind of ruined his development.
Okay. And so now he's just...
And ever since then, he's been kind of on a downward spiral. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Well, what was your reaction to the initial injury, Ray?
To be honest, I don't see the Panthers really going anywhere anyways. At best, they're a wild card team, and that's me being very generous. That being said, this injury doesn't really change too much for their season. All I'm looking to see for the Panthers is seeing how well Baker acclimates and seeing if was it the Browns that ruined him or is it him?
I have a little bit of a hot take on that.
Tell us.
Okay, so Panthers are looking at DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Terrence Marshall, and they picked up Rashard Higgins, who Baker Mayfield has seasons with in Cleveland. So he's got a little bit of chemistry there already.
Totally.
So you give him 3 new weapons that he's never used that are different than OBJ and Jarvis in Cleveland. You give him a new offense under Matt Rule that I think he's going to thrive under. I think Panthers are almost a lock at the playoffs. I do. It's a little bit of a stretch.
You sound like the Madden projections.
It's a little bit of a stretch. It's a little bit of a stretch, but I got a lot of faith.
I say they finish in 3rd place in the NFC South.
That's a safe bet.
I want to jump in on that. Jameis Winston is good. Michael Thomas is injury prone, and he has 2 new receivers.
They have a good defense, though, New Orleans. They have a very good defense.
They have a good defense.
And that could be enough. That could be enough to hold them off against Carolina, but not
well,
to win the division.
Ty and/or Grant, we will see either or both of you on the Bad Takes commercial just a few weeks away. So it's way too early for this, way far too early. But we are going to give you our MVP picks for the NFL season because why not? So Grant, I'm going to start with you, my friend. Who is your MVP for 2022-2023?
It's got to be Josh Allen. You know why? Because
you're basic?
No, because he's
sorry.
on one of the most complete teams in the NFL. I mean, the Bills are as stacked of a team as you can be to compete for the Super Bowl. He's entering his 5th year. I mean, he's had a great season last year, played in a classic playoff game against Patrick Mahomes in that divisional round. I think that really kind of messed with him a little bit, like in a good way, like motivated him. So I think he's very hungry and eager to get to the Super Bowl this year.
How does the new offensive coordinator affect him?
I don't know if it really affects him that much. Maybe like a system of play calling may be different, but Josh Allen's in his 5th year. He's got a very good head on his shoulders, so I think he's gonna be fine.
Okay, and Ty, this was your pick as well, correct?
It was.
Tell me more about it.
So, the Bills last year, AFC Championship team, a coin toss away from the Super Bowl. Okay? They go out and they add Jamison Crowder, so a little bit more wide receiver depth from the Jets, and then they pick up O.J. Howard from the Bucs. Josh Allen loves his seam routes to Dawson Knox, and oftentimes they're double covered. So if you give him that second seam route, I don't think there's a spot on the field he won't hit. I think he's going to produce 5,000 plus yards this year. I think he's an easy lock at MVP.
That's a good bet.
That's some logic that I don't think I can even argue with. So, Ray, who is your pick for MVP?
Speaking about 5,000 yard years, my guy's probably been playing in the NFL since you guys have been in diapers. I'm talking about Tom Brady, the GOAT. Look, he was robbed for MVP last season. He had more passing yards than Aaron Rodgers. He had more touchdowns than Aaron Rodgers. He threw for 5,000 yards and he doesn't get MVP at 44. I don't see that dropping off. He's pulling an MJ coming out of retirement to add some jewelry to his collection. I got Tom Brady coming back.
It's already surpassed MJ too.
Yeah.
So, okay, he's 45.
45.
People were worried about him running out of gas last year.
And all he did was throw 5,000 yards. But
So, The Masked Singer. Where does this come into play? I just want to know your thoughts.
I don't think a human being is allowed to be able to sing and play football like that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say he was not the mask. If he was, then by all that just adds to the resume.
But this is no ordinary football player. This is Tom Brady. This is the GOAT of football, if not all of sports. So I think at this point in his career, he can do anything he wants.
Bro, this is the guy that could sound like Fergie in the NFL. Like Tom Brady could definitely be on the news team.
Okay, well, guys, that's all the time we have to talk about NFL. By the way, my MVP is Russell Wilson. If you're watching, I got you. When we come back, we will be talking about Hitting the Field's 15th season, how it's come to be. And we'll be here with Johnny Jackson. Stay with us.
Why? Because I am a New York Giants fan and I want my first pick of the week to be my team. I see an upset for the New York Giants this Sunday. Bet your entire savings, and I'm telling you right now, they're gonna win. I don't care what you say. It's gonna happen.
I have to go with the Raiders, I think, for this one. I don't see them losing.
Welcome back. It is now time for our primetime picks of the week, the best segment. I'm currently doing awful, standing at 16-10, Oklahoma State and Texas. I'm going Texas 35-27.
All right, Jeff, don't tell me your winner, but who is going to the Super Bowl?
The New England Patriots.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
God.
And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
God.
The
Oh
NFL
my
is gonna.
God.
The NFL is gonna make it happen.
And we're back. If you didn't catch it at the top of our show today, this is the first episode of the 15th season of Hitting the Field. While this program has been part of my life for the past year and a half, it's been around for a lot longer than that. I remember first hearing about it and not believing that something so cool, so perfect, and so fun existed in the same building I was taking all my classes in. Just this past Friday, we got to hear from Jeremy Taché, who revived Hitting the Field when it was a dying program a few years ago. And that was back when it was only one show. During COVID, another graduate from our program, Sean Green, had the idea to make Hitting the Field the network. The multiple shows to give even more opportunities to everyone involved. And we're now entering our 4th season as a network. Someone who was along for the ride during HTF's transition to HTFN was our executive producer, Johnny Jackson. Johnny, 15 seasons of Hitting the Field. What are your thoughts on that?
15 seasons is a little bit insane, especially to see where this program has come from and where it's been. Jeremy Taché, I love you like a brother. Thank you for always, having our backs and, being on a call with us for 2 hours when we were originally doing this expansion. Also, Jeremy Brenner, I know you're watching right now. We were texting about it, told me to get back to the show. I'm back to the show. Thank you for teaching me a little bit of how to be an executive producer and how to give more of myself to this program than I ever could have thought. Sean Green, I love you, man. I know we didn't always get along, but we made something amazing. And now we've got Hannah Jo leading the charge for this 15th season. 15 seasons, that's over 7 years of this program. And I'm so thankful to everyone that's been a part of it, so thankful to everyone that's in it now, and so thankful to everyone yet to come.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel so grateful for this program, so grateful for everyone who built it up, and that includes you, Johnny. So guys, that's all the time that we have for this first episode of Hitting the Field. We won't see you next week because of Labor Day, but the following week we will be back talking all the NFL Week 1 and 2 drama, for sure. Thanks everyone for watching, and on behalf of myself, Johnny Jackson, and all of us here at HTFN, have a great 2 weeks. Peace.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready yet?